Some car rental companies facing possible shutdown. That's our top story in our Barbados Today morning news update for Thursday, April the 19th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Some car rental companies in Barbados are facing possible closure. That's because they are fast running out of driver's permit books for visitors, and the Barbados Licensing Authority don't have enough to meet their demands. To make matters worse, operators fear that their troubles would be compounded with the demands on the government printery becoming greater for the supply of general election material. Owner of Chelsea Motors, Richard Cummins, told Barbados Today he recently went to buy 4 books but was told he could only get 1.
There's no urgency with them when you tell them that you're out of books, you can't rent a car. It's like, well, no problem, go to the beach and go out, you know. I mean, there is no sort of urgency at all. It is what I would call a total display of ignorance.
An operations manager of Drivermatic, Dennis Mahon, said he fears his company could run out of permit books by this weekend.
Barbados Licensing Authority, whoever government officials need to pretty much say when next they will be available to us so that we know what to expect. And given the fact that car rental companies are running out and some people are already out, what systems are they putting in place to accommodate people visiting the island? Are they going to waive the situation where a person doesn't have to have a driver's permit because of a lack of availability? Or are they going to enforce it? But how can you enforce something that's not available?
In other news now, there has been mixed reaction to the increase in bus fare for school children traveling on privately owned public service vehicles or PSVs. The fare was moved at the start of the new school term on Tuesday from $1.50 to $2 due to the rising cost of doing business. Last night, a seemingly disappointed Minister of Transport, Michael Lashley, told Barbados Today that while the fare hike had been raised with officials in his ministry, there was no conclusion to those discussions, which came amid ongoing talks with the private operators on the possibility of them having access to certain duty-free concessions. He also made it clear that operators who were working with the government under the TASI project, which is currently active along the Sturgis Edie Village route, continue to charge school children $1.50 bus fare. Lashley also said he would be seeking a meeting shortly with the operators to iron out the current differences. A Barbados Today team visited the river bus terminal yesterday afternoon to get feedback on the bus fare adjustment.
So far, I didn't hear the school children complaining. Everybody paying the $2, so I feel that it should be that way every second. They shouldn't be able to know to do that, and they feel that the free bus fare that the transport board got the school children traveling on the bus free, I feel that need to stop too.
When they had to raise the first set of bus fare, the children were still under. One was $1.50 and $1. So when it went up, we decided that we would still keep it there. But it seems like they don't want the school children to catch a van out kind of way. They don't want that on for the transport board bus. So we don't mind the $2.
The response was, it was okay for me, where the children is concerned. Some children want back the 50 cents. I give back the 50 cents. Who don't want the 50 cents, I guess. It's not a here nor there for me. It doesn't matter if you pay $1.50 or $2. Because it's not going to profit me if I charge $2. I ain't going to get the more money. It's going to be still actually the same thing for me.
Honestly, it would hurt the pocket a bit. Being told that we mostly catch the taxis or the minivans, and it's strange because transport board is free but not reliable. So at the end of the day, I gotta pay if I want to get to work early, for she to get to school early. But definitely it is a change from the norm. I would prefer if it was the 150 still.
6 months ago, the Rural Development Commission finally came to his rescue and carried out much-needed repairs to his dilapidated home at Clifton Hall in St. John, after his plight was highlighted a year ago by Barbados Today. However, life remains very hard for 67-year-old Wilson Yearwood, even though he no longer has to contend with a leaky roof or rusty galvanized over his head that could easily cave in at a moment's notice. The retired plantation worker, who was deemed medically unfit 35 years ago, is forced to live off the little financial assistance he gets from the government in the form of a pension from the National Insurance Scheme. To make matters worse, his wife, Louise, who was the main breadwinner for the family, passed away 2 months ago, and he has since racked up $5,000 in funeral expenses.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. The Guyana government will be looking to engage an international corporation to help in the recovery of assets which were reportedly stolen under the previous administration. This is according to Carl Greenwich, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who was at the time speaking at the Summit of the Americas in Peru. Royden James reports.
The minister told the summit that the government has already taken solid steps to help in the fight against corruption. Among those steps, he said, is the implementation of several laws and regulations to investigate, prosecute, and deter corrupt acts.
The State Assets Recovery Act, for example, assented to in May 2017, embodies the anti-corruption thrust of the state and is predicated on the 2003 United Nations Convention Against Corruption. It is intended to engage in international cooperation in the recovery of stolen assets of the state.
Additionally, the minister told the summit that a regulatory system has been put in place to promote transparency and accountability in public office.
And on the international scene, federal air safety officials investigating why the engine of a Southwest Airlines jet blew apart, killing a passenger after shattering a plane window, said on Wednesday that the incident began when a fan blade already suffering metal fatigue snapped off in mid-flight. We hear more in this Reuters report.
Safety officials are now focusing on the engine and why it blew up mid-air.
We are very concerned about this particular event. Engine failures like this should not occur, obviously, but I will say that the CFM56 engine is a very widely used engine, and it's got a great record, generally speaking.
Preliminary findings cite, quote, metal fatigue for an engine fan blade breaking off. Parts of the shattered engine found as far as 60 miles away from the emergency landing. Southwest crews now rushing to inspect up to 600 of the oldest such engines in use on their planes. And airlines around the world are speeding up inspections as well.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.